Hey everybody, what's up? Thanks for checking out the video and the channel. This will be my first video on gaming, and I have felt a bit nostalgic lately, so I decided to make a video reminiscing a bit on what I consider the good old days of gaming, basically the early 2000s when I was growing up. I've been playing games for almost 20 years now, and it's just crazy to look back and see how things are different today compared to where they were when I was a kid. So I just want to take the time to remember some of my favorite games and elements and memories of the gaming industry back when it wasn't focused on churning out games every year and having the main focus be on battle passes and games that weren't, over 100 hours long because of how big the world is. I'll try my best not to be that grumpy old man sitting on his porch yelling at kids to get off his lawn, but you probably will experience that at some point later on in the video. Quickly, I just want to take a moment to plug my Twitter and TikTok. You can follow both of those channels at analyzethis_YT. You can see more clips and content, interact with me there as well. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, trying to build a community here to where, we could all enjoy the content I make and we could all reminisce and talk together and have great discussions on things that we all love here on this channel. But before I even talk about any specific games, can we just take a moment to talk about midnight releases and actually owning a whole collection of games and boxes? When I was a kid, I really never worried about storage space or whatever. I always would have tons of DVDs and tons of games just like the next person. But nowadays I'm mostly a digital person. I can't stand having clutter, on my TV stand or whatever in my apartment. So mostly a digital guy now. Plus, hey, it's nice to just stream everything, even movies and stuff too on Netflix and Hulu and whatnot. The thing I miss the most about buying the disc version is the midnight release events. I remember going to GameStop for a couple different games on a couple different occasions, like Madden, Call of Duty, Halo. Shout out to my parents for taking me to those and standing in line with me in the middle of the night like that. Those lines were long, but it was a lot of fun to stand around there with fellow gamers, and it was really cool to just see how excited everybody was. I remember getting Halo 4 with a good friend of mine, and he ended up spending the night at my place. We only played a few hours. We were prepared for an all-nighter, or at least I was, but he wasn't. And it's funny, when I was a kid, there were just some games that I would never complete. I don't remember if it was because I got stuck at a hard part or if I just forgot to save the game on occasions. I know I used to have a bunch of memory cards, but I would just always repeat those missions and never get bored. Like one example, I used to love Driver on the PS1. However, I could never beat the first damn mission of the game, which was basically a tutorial because I didn't know how to do all the tricks. Never experienced the story, ended up watching it all on YouTube. And nowadays, it's funny because I hate replaying and rewatching games and movies and cutscenes and things like that. But there were some games that I just could replay again and again. And I probably replayed games like Star Wars Battlefront, the OG versions, the Medal of Honor series, especially Medal of Honor Frontline, Time Splitters, Future Perfect, campaigns for certain franchises like Call of Duty, Gears of War, Halo. I think it's the simplicity of those games that make them so easy to replay time and time again. Such good stories, characters, fun gameplay as well. But the simplicity of just loading up a game and playing through the missions was a blast, and you didn't really wear down mentally. Nowadays I hit burnout with open world games, especially over this last year, and it's not that I don't like them, but it's just they take too long. Sometimes they're too complicated. It's not always worth exploring the entire world after spending hours in the menus trying to figure out what skills to unlock or items to craft or what to buy at the store. It gets old. I think it's just the same game loop being too repetitive all the time as well. It sucks when you play a game that should take up to 60 hours to complete and you hit the end of the gameplay loop about 10 hours in and you're like, well, I got another 40 or 50 hours of this. I hope I could find a way to keep it fresh. I wish more open world games would get more creative as you go through the game. Like change the gameplay up when you get to a different part of the map which contains maybe mountains or snow. Change the enemies up in different areas too. Don't just increase their level skill and level gate different sections of the map. I also think game developers really need to think about just how big they want to make a game before they actually do. So here's an example. I've actually enjoyed the open world RPG style Assassin's Creed games. The first one, Origins, is definitely my favorite. However, Odyssey was just like Origins, but even bigger. You actually don't even visit every area and island on the map. You only do that if you choose to explore or if you happen to sometimes do side quests that might bring you to that area, and you may be there once, in just a one and done scenario. I truly admire the beautiful worlds, but at some point you have to wonder, if the resources, the time, and the manpower could have went to something else like enhancing gameplay elements and yet again improving that gameplay loop that makes a game fun to play hour after hour after hour. Valhalla was a better game because it was more streamlined, but that game also left more to be desired. You were able to build and grow your own village, for example. You were able to select which buildings to create and, have some kind of benefits, but, you had to go find resources, you had to pick and choose, and then eventually it was all scripted. You were able to build all of these buildings, but it doesn't really make your gameplay experience unique or different compared to somebody else that you may know that's playing the game that you have conversations with. And I know people are out there that love to explore and find all the collectibles, and I know people love to complete all the achievements and get plat or whatever, like on PlayStation, but I don't think that should be your main gameplay focus outside of the story. I hope games can eventually take the next step where your choices can affect your specific game world. Kind of like Skyrim and Fallout. Depending on what factions you help, which ones you kill. I think more can be done though. We saw that 10 plus years ago with the early days of Fallout and Skyrim, but nobody's really doing any of that. Now it's, Starfield and everybody's promising to go to thousands of different planets. Well, I don't even know if that's what you need. I just want to be able to alter and change up my game world. I was lucky enough to find a PS5 last year, and it was the first time that I've had a PlayStation since the PlayStation 2, so it's been a very long time. I never got to play The Last of Us, the Uncharted series, so I was excited to recently have played The Last of Us games, almost done with the Uncharted series, Ghost of Tsushima, Days Gone, and there's still some more to play on the list, but I can't tell you how much I enjoyed those straightforward stories of, say, The Last of Us and Uncharted, where, you just go through the missions and do these different things, not do too much exploring and have a lot of time wasted. Like, you could really beat those games. The Uncharted games, I think, usually takes about, 10 to 15 hours. That's, not bad at all. But then I played a game like Days Gone where it had a good story. I really was into the story, but the gameplay loop and the open world again was just very bland after a while. And yeah, another zombie game, so maybe that's why. So this is where I turn into the cranky old man and start talking about, well, back in my day. I have some major issues with modern gaming, but it's not really about battle passes. Yeah, I wouldn't shed a tear, honestly, if they disappeared tomorrow. But some games do them right. And I'll admit I've spent money on Fortnite, I've spent money on Rocket League, because they offer content that is cool, and it's usually cool cosmetic stuff. Playing as Darth freaking Vader in Fortnite is badass. Rocket League allows you to collect a bunch of cool items to design awesome looking cars. Perhaps what I like the most about Fortnite and Rocket League, which are both owned by Epic Games now, by the way, is that you get rewarded for playing the game. If you play the game enough and complete the battle pass, you earn enough credits to buy the next pass, where you don't even have to spend money. I really do appreciate the fact that you can work hard towards the game and get rewarded with the next pass for even more content and keep doing that cycle. I've done that especially with Rocket League. What really aggravates me about modern gaming though is the live service, or really the lack of it. Battlefield 2042 and Halo Infinite were big disappointments for me last year when they came out, because the content was literally sample size. You got a handful of game modes and maps that got old really quickly after playing them for just a few weeks. Modern Warfare 2 right now is having the same issue. I've been playing that game with a few friends for quite a bit now since it came out in November, and I'm just sick of the couple of maps they offer. And what blows my mind about these old-time game franchises like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Halo is that they have over 2 decades worth of old content that they could technically sprinkle into these games. Need time to make new maps, modes, and weapons? Well, here's a couple of classic old maps, or an old gun, or, old operator skins or characters. I don't know why some companies are so afraid of nostalgia. Like, hello, all of these people that have played your games for all these years when you started out would love to revisit that old content, maybe even in a modern format. Games today are missing features too, like leaderboards and scoreboards. We never had that issue. Heck, I've been waiting a month now for Infinity Ward to fix some bugs in MW2. I can't use tokens that I unlock in the Battle Pass unless I back out all the way to the startup menu. There's also text that's stuck on the screen when players in a lobby speak. It just freezes there, almost like a screenshot, and the text will stay there hours, even days later, and that's still there on my screen. I like the idea of live service when it means we will continue to get content over the lifespan of a game. What I don't like is that companies use this as a crutch, an excuse to release a game that is unpolished, buggy, and lacking content. Alright, that's enough ranting for today. I want to end this video with one more positive thought. Let's take a moment to just remember the fun days of couch co-op. Remember inviting your friends over, having LAN parties, or just everyone playing on the same screen peeking. Being able to play through the Gears of War campaign and Halo campaigns with friends were some of the best times. I even once had a buddy who was ranked 3rd in the world in Call of Duty Ghosts because he stayed home from school for like the first week it came out and just played non-stop. I remember we had a sleepover at my house once, brought his console, brought his TV, and he played that damn game all night. And really, I just miss playing anything cooperatively with friends, you know, even if it was playing Nazi Zombies or something, you know, from everybody's home when we were stuck, you know, during snow days back in the days of middle school and high school. Just a lot of good times there. Well, thanks again for watching the video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe for more, and also comment down below, you know, let's engage, let's talk about the gaming industry. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on your gaming journey throughout the years, whether you're young or an old fart like me. I'll see you on the next one.